Hi, everybody. My name is Mia, and I am going to be co-hosting our new series that we'll be having here on Instagram every Thursday, and it's called How To with Ziad. So because of coronavirus and sectors of the economy closing, we've seen a record number of jobless claims, but there are extra unemployment benefits available. So we're going to unpack all these things with Ziad. First, we're going to talk through the application process, timeline of unemployment checks, eligibility, and stimulus, as well as any other questions that you have. So let's get Ziad on here. All right. Hi, Ziad. How are you doing?
Doing well. How about yourself, Mia?
Doing well. It's been a good day.
Yeah, excited to kick off this series with you.
Yes.
Yeah, just wanted to say, for everyone who's tuning in, we are going to be talking about unemployment mostly related to California. So as we talk through these things, understand that if you are unemployed or just learning about this in another state, there might be a little bit different details to be aware of. And so think about this for mostly California as well as anything else.
Yes. And before we
Yeah.
dive in, I just want to say that the information that we'll be discussing is for general information only, and it's not intended to provide specific advice or recommendations for any individual. So please consult a financial advisor before making any decisions. And we want this to be interactive. We want you to be able to send questions as they come up. So just put them in the comment section, and we will make sure to answer them.
Yeah. And I'm really excited to kick this off talking about unemployment. I don't know about you, Mia, but a lot of my friends who recently graduated college, they were starting their careers and just unfortunately with everything, aren't working anymore and are collecting unemployment checks. And so this has been a big topic around my circles, and I'm sure yours as well. So excited to get this
It's been
going.
huge. I mean, everyone's just been graduating, and there's very few jobs available with just a bunch of things being closed.
Yeah.
So this is definitely a relevant topic right now. So let's kick it off. Let's say that I've been laid off and I've been told to file for unemployment. What do I need to gather before I apply?
Yeah, so before you apply, you basically just want to get a history of your work over the past year and a half. And so that includes, where you worked, the name of your supervisor, the address, phone number, that kind of information, as well as how much you made in the last week that you were working. Along with that, if you are a federal employee or an ex-military or not a citizen of the United States and are still applying for unemployment, there are a couple other forms that you want to include, and you can find that online at edd.ca.gov, and you can include that as well. But mostly it's just employment history is the big thing. And then the last big detail is also why you aren't working anymore. That's it, the reasoning behind why you need to collect unemployment is also big.
Right. So once I apply, how long does it take for me to get my first payment?
Yeah, for your first payment, so normally with unemployment, it takes about a week to process, but with the recent government intervention surrounding COVID-19, they've actually waived that week, and generally you can see that your unemployment check coming in right after you apply. That being said, with everything that's been going on over the past couple months, there have been a lot more unemployment claims being filed. And so I have heard from a lot of friends and just experiences from others that things have been a little bottlenecked and it has taken a little bit more time to process. So once you apply, I would expect it within the next week, but just be aware that it could take us slightly longer with all these applications.
That's honestly quicker than I expected it to be with everything. I feel like most things have been delayed just between, when you order things online.
Oh, yeah.
A lot of it has been saying that shipping is going to be taking longer. So it's good to know.
Yeah.
Well, this economy has been really unpredictable and, you don't know when jobs are going to come back. So how long can I plan on collecting unemployment?
So normally with unemployment in California, you can collect for 26 weeks, basically half the year. But with the recent government stimulus, they've added an additional 13 weeks on top of that. So you can collect for 39 weeks, potentially. This is meant to be money that is just to help hold over while you look for a job. And so I wouldn't expect to sustain on this entirely. basically the point of this is you have 26 weeks to pay the bills while looking for a new job. And so, yeah.
Okay. And is
Yeah.
anybody eligible for unemployment?
No, most people are, but
Okay.
you need to basically you need to check a couple boxes. First and
Hmm.
foremost, you need to prove that you are unemployed, that you aren't working. And not only that, it's also from you also need to prove that, it's not on your own fault. If you were laid off or fired, you should qualify. If you quit your job or left voluntarily, you still can qualify for unemployment, but you will have to provide additional information, potentially file another form. And then on top of that, you also need to prove that you're physically able to work and available to work and are looking for jobs. Like I said before, this is meant to help hold you over until you do find a new job, and then until then, and so you wanna be actively looking and show that it wasn't necessarily all in your end in terms of being unemployed. And just to respond to Brett Sifling's question, if you are part-time, there is potential for you to collect unemployment. You would just have to fill out a different form on edd.ca.gov, and you can collect slightly less.
Okay. Well, so how has stimulus affected unemployment?
Yeah, so there's been a few things that have been happening, right? With the pandemic, um, businesses have been forced to shut down, a lot of it on the government's end, all for a good reason, of course. But because businesses are shut down, they're not bringing in revenues. Employees are unable to, be employed, are unable to work. And so the government has provided a lot of support. And so they've done three things, basically. First and foremost, they expanded the type of people that qualify for unemployment. So now that, normally it's just, you don't have self-employed workers, you don't have business owners, you don't have independent contractors. Like the big headline around March and April was gig economy workers are now qualifying for unemployment, which is great. The second is that extension, right? Like I said, California, normally you have 26 weeks to collect unemployment. They added an additional 13 weeks on top of that, so you can collect unemployment 39 weeks now. And then the last thing, and the one that everyone has been talking about, has been the additional $600 a week that you've been able to collect over the past couple months.
That's a big difference.
So that is a huge difference. I mean, you take California, the maximum amount that you can collect for unemployment normally is $450. And so you add another $600 on top of that, that means you're collecting over $1,000 a week. And that's been great because a lot of people have been able to still maintain the same lifestyle that they've had and even been able to save a little bit more. I would say though, with the additional $600 a month or $600 a week that is being provided by government stimulus, that is going to expire soon. So after July 25th or next week, you will no longer be collecting $600 a week additional on top of whatever you were collecting before. And so you should be prepared to be bringing in slightly less income from that unemployment.
Okay, so why is there so much added benefit to unemployment right now?
Yeah, I mean, like I touched on before, the big thing is just the government, forced a lot of businesses to close down for good reason. But with that, businesses can't pay, don't have enough money to pay the bills, let alone their employees. And so they want to do what they can. And they provided a lot of stimulus over the past couple months to help not just support businesses, but individuals as well.
Okay, so if I apply now, do I get the additional $600 until I run out of checks, even if the deadline is soon?
No. So, if you apply for unemployment
Okay.
and started collecting unemployment checks a couple weeks ago, say last week, you're only collecting that additional 600 until the end of next week. And so don't expect to be collecting that for the entirety of your unemployment. After July 25th, it goes back to normal unless there is going to be additional stimulus provided, which we haven't heard an official word from yet.
I was going to say that was added in the questions a little bit earlier, if there's a chance that this will be extended.
Yeah, there is a chance, but nothing is set in stone yet. There have been talks about different kinds of stimulus. I think a lot of debate has been around whether that $600 a week was too much money to be providing to everyone. And so I would say there probably will be more stimulus. Can't say 100% for
Mhm.
certain, but details just keeping updated with the news, and we'll also be keeping in contact with our clients and our community to let them know as well.
Of course. So, are
Yeah.
there any other important details about unemployment checks that maybe should be noted?
Yes, one huge detail with unemployment is that any income you're getting from unemployment is actually taxable. So when
Oh, that's a
a
good
lot of
point.
yeah, that is huge. A lot of people they collect the full amount from unemployment, right? And they're ready to spend it all because a lot of the times it isn't a lot of money. But but um, you have to pay taxes on that at the end of the year, and so be aware of that when you pull out that money. What people can do to prevent this unexpected tax bill at the end of the year is they have the opportunity to withhold a certain amount of money from their unemployment check that can be then later used to pay that tax bill. Otherwise, if you're pulling out the entire dollar amount, take a portion of that and just save it, please, because you do not want to have to deal with that unexpected bill months down the line.
Yeah, that's a good
Yeah.
point. So, if I'm
hmm
laid off, is there anything else besides unemployment that I should really be aware of, be prepared
Yeah.
for?
Yeah. The big thing outside of unemployment is just your retirement benefits. I think a lot of people tend to forget when they get laid off or they get fired from a job that if they were contributing into a 401k plan, then then that money is still theirs, but they need to take
Hmm.
control of it, right?
Right.
And so a lot of and what you need to do that, and a lot of what we help what we help our clients and our community with is rolling over that 401k into an individual retirement account, also known as an IRA. So you just call into your provider, and as advisors here, we're happy to help with that. Call into your provider, roll over that 401k into an IRA, where then you can have control of those assets on what's going on with that money in there, and not letting it sit at that former work and not do much.
Okay. Well, this has
Mm-hmm.
all been great information. Before we go, I want to give everybody a chance to leave a question in the comment section right now, and we'll try and answer them. If we don't have questions right now, we have had a couple submitted ahead of time. So, one question that we had submitted was there have been a lot of headlines in the news titled Horror Stories from Californians Filing Unemployment Claims and Getting No Results. So, what's the easiest way to file for unemployment?
Yeah, and I actually read that article earlier as well. There's been a lot of people who've been
Mhm.
filing for unemployment and haven't heard back at all. And a lot of that has to do with it being with the unemployment claims being bottlenecked. The best thing to do to avoid that is to file online. Try not to mail in a hard copy. Try not to call in because their call centers are getting hammered. So file online. It's very efficient, very easy. Gather those statements ahead of time, and then the actual process of filing for unemployment takes you 15 to 20 minutes maximum.
Oh, wow. Okay.
hmm
Online. That's the way to
Yeah.
go.
And the web,
Um,
just to clarify for everyone, the website to go on to file online is edd.ca.gov. It's the Employment Development Department. You can file on there. I mean, if you simply Google search "file for unemployment California," that'll pop up as well.
Perfect.
hmm
Can you file for unemployment, or do you file for unemployment if you're a dependent?
Yeah, if you're a dependent, you can file for unemployment. They don't really care if you're a dependent or independent. Really, the biggest thing is just that if you left your job, it was mostly because it wasn't on you. You got laid off or you got
Mhm.
fired. It wasn't voluntary, and then also you are actively seeking other forms of work. And trying to find another job.
All right. And then one last question is how do you know if you're eligible for a stimulus check?
Yeah. So for a stimulus check, you need to be an independent. Also, if you need to fit the income requirements from that. So if you are making less than $75,000 if you're single, or $150,000 if you're married, then you do qualify for that stimulus check. Um, Even if you weren't bringing in an income, if you didn't file taxes for the past year, you still can qualify. You just have to apply online. The big thing is that if you were bringing in income, you should file your taxes for 2019 to collect that stimulus check. I mean, the tax deadline was just yesterday, so if you haven't already, check online and see if there are resources there for you to be able to collect that still. But if you did file your taxes for this past year, you were making less than that 75,000 if you're single, 150,000 if you're married, then you should be able to get that stimulus check.
Okay. Well,
Yeah.
Ziad, this has been really fun. Everyone stay tuned for more how-tos that we'll be having every Thursday here on Instagram Live. If there's any topics that you want us to talk about, please let us know. You can DM us and reach out to us with any questions that you have in the meantime. Ziad, you want to go ahead and give your email?
Yes, please. If you do have any questions or are looking for help, reach out to us. You can reach out to me at ziad@gerberkawasaki.com. Also, my Instagram is at Ziad Hijazi, or you can call into our office. It is 310-441-9393, and we are happy to help with anything, whether it be rolling over 401k, dealing with unemployment, or even as you find that new job, getting your financial plan in order and back on track.
Yes. All right. Well, thank you, Ziad, and thank you for everybody who watched this.
Yeah.
We'll
Thanks,
see you
guys.
next week.
Have a great day.